Hi, this is Steve, Dichroic Glass Man, and my latest channel on YouTube now is StainedGlassManUS. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Right now I'm attaching this twisted lead that I'd made previously, and I'm going to attach it to my window. However, what I do not want to do is start my lead on this panel right here. And the reason being is there's no support. So what I would like to do is slide the window down to this solder joint to start my project. It's just me, I'm just that way. And it's personal. And then also keep your iron tip tinned with steel wool. So I'm going to attach the lead in places along the way, about every 1.5 inches. So I'm attaching the lead about every 1.5 inches onto my panel. And this lead needed to be been left out, and that's the problem with lead, is that if you leave it out, it can lose its properties fairly easy. I'm going to slide my window down. I'm going about 1.25 inches, maybe 1.5 inches distance soldering, like I'm doing here. There's no need to be any less than that. In fact, this is very strong. Getting ready to make my curve. I like putting a strip in here. You notice I have a strip of wood here. I wanted to make note of that earlier. It's my stop, and it keeps my lead totally up against the window because the weight of the window is holding it. Okay, so as I start, I'm moving my window around. And that way it's kind of like my helping hand. I don't have anybody to help me do this window. So about 1.5 inches, there I go. Place a nice solder ball on there. Okay. Continue to turn the window around. And you can see how that's come about. Let's see, you can see where I started putting the solder balls on there. Now that I've curved it around, getting ready to do it all the way around. Just keep turning the window as you go. And if you end up short, which I think is going to happen in this window, I'm not going to have enough, I'm definitely not going to have enough of this twisted lead to finish the whole triangle. So I'm going to have to twist another piece of lead. And then it's really nice to have these little pieces left over because you can splice them as long as you can match up the end of this to this fairly well. In fact, it would be right there. You could solder right into this and nobody would ever know the difference. So you want to keep these little pieces. Besides, it's really nice and effective to show people in real life what it is you're going to put around the edges, because they might ask you. It's my favorite way to deal with anything other than a square. I've never used this edge on a square or a rectangle. It'd be kind of funky. When I put the strip down, you could go to the lumber yard and you can get this stuff really thin like this. And it's about 3/4 of an inch by about 1/4 of an inch. So if you got a table saw and you're good with it, it's nice making these strips. Made it out of maple. So what I want to do also is I use these little tacks, wire nails, 3/4 by 18, and they're really nice because they got little tiny little heads on them. And then you pry the stick up off your bench when you're done. And until then, it does a fine job of just being able to keep yourself a backrest. See how it pushes right into there? Straight. And you just push your window into it, and then you're able to work. When you're by yourself, you improvise guides and jigs and what have you to make life easier. Excuse me. Make life easier for you, less strenuous and what have you. So it's a good idea to come up with little jigs and something to help you along the way, makes it easier. Besides, every time something gets easier and makes sense, you're actually adding to your level of confidence, which is, to me, is the biggest issue with teaching or showing anybody what it is that I do. It's just confidence. That's all. And when you've done it repetitiously and you're confident in your ability, you can embark upon many new ideas, adventures in stained glass and make it work for you. This whole window is kind of cool. Talk about adversities and such. I'm almost 100% colorblind. So I utilize clear textures because they're very expressive to me. Some textures are bold, they scream loud. I have synesthesia, by the way. And synesthesia, if you look it up on Google, means the mixing of senses. I'm able to hear color and see color, and the same with sound. So I hear an intensity coming out of different clear glass. I know that sounds weird. And no, I'm not smoking, and no, I don't drink. It's called spotlight. But if you use clear glass, which is the quietest of glass for me, it's the background. So I use clear window glass actually in some spots to really bring depth and dimensionality to other textures that are bold and overpowering, like this figure C right here. Crocodile glass on Croco is really predominant. And this matrix glass right here also has a different frequency for me. Kind of funky, I know. Well, anyway, we accomplished putting the lead on there, or starting. So in the next video, I'll have it all the way around, and then we'll put on the hangers. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.